Cool.
So I had Turkey as my destination, and then things with this girl didn't end up going very well, and we were traveling together, and then we decided to go our own ways. This was in Budapest, and then so I had to get from Budapest to Turkey.
Right.
Hitchhiked south, took a boat from northern Italy. You can take these boats the ferry boats from northern Italy, from Venice, actually. Is it Venice? Yeah,
Venice,
Venice.
yeah.
To western Greece.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And so I spent like 2 hours in Venice, where other people go there and like are
That's
totally
exactly
marveled.
how long I spent.
I was like,
That was enough.
I don't want to see this fucking place. I'm done with all these cities. I just want to get to Turkey and get the shit over with. So I got on the boat, went to Western Greece, stayed with a very interesting couch surfer there in the middle of nowhere in the mountains. He was a baker in a village with like 200 people. Stayed there for a couple days.
It's chill, at least.
Quite interesting. Yeah, beautiful. But again, I was travel tired, so I just wanted to get to where I was going and settle down for a bit. And so when I left there, I decided to gun it for Istanbul, and that was a monster hitch, something like 1,200 kilometers in a day.
Nice.
And it's almost impossible to do that kind of distance. So I started like 6 a.m. with this guy, drunk as all hell,
Sweet.
in this car that was barreling down these mountain roads in northern Greece. At some point, he ran out of gas in the middle of a tunnel. And he's like, oh, you just wait here. Then he left the car and he was, disappearing. So I was like, yeah,
Okay.
maybe I'm also not going to stay here. So I
Yeah.
just left the car also and started walking. Got a whole bunch of rides. Got lucky. Got to the Turkish border at around sunset, I guess.
Okay.
And then the highway border between Greece and Turkey is there's a demilitarized zone between Greece and Turkey because it's also the EU border.
Right.
And so
Like no man's land.
yeah, and it's like there's military there. It's heavily fortified and guarded and all that stuff. So I'm talking to the Greek side of the border, and the guy's like, you cannot pass this border on foot. Like normally I would just, because my philosophy was always before a border I get out of a car, so I cannot get in trouble because the guy I'm hitchhiking with happens to have like a kilo of cocaine in the back.
Okay.
So I always said, like, at the border I get out, I get myself across the border.
I lost a ride for the opposite reason. Coming into Alaska, the guy, they're like, if he, talking about me, if like he has weed in his backpack, he can say it's yours. So the driver's like, I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Huh. So you're on foot, you're talking to him, and you're kind of stuck.
Yeah. So I'm like, okay, what do I do now? And then there's this girl behind me. She's like, how do you get here on foot? Well, I hitchhiked, this and that. And she's like, oh, let me talk to the guy. She says, you talk to the guy. She says, the guy says, yeah, I can let you pass, but the military will keep you because they won't allow you to pass on foot. So you have to be in a vehicle. And so a girl explains this to me. She says, I'm actually guiding a tour group, a group of tourists. We came from Macedonia and we're going back to Istanbul. So you can come on our bus. And if you've hitchhiked for a while, you know that the likelihood that you'll be accepted on a tour bus full of tourists is somewhere between 0 and really unlikely.
Right. Pretty sweet.
But she's like, yeah, that's no problem. I'll arrange it. I'm leading the group, so it's fine. Okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So we walk back to the bus.
Just to get you across the border, or?
Yeah. Well, no, she said, like, we're going to Istanbul, so you can come with me.
Oh.
Like, we can drop you in Istanbul.
Perfect.
And, like, this is already evening, so I'm like, fuck, yes.
Yeah.
It's happening.
Yeah. It's far from the border to Istanbul. Is another 6 hours
Yeah,
or something
yeah.
like that?
It's not close. And so we we go back to the bus, and she needed to do something. Her phone rang, or I don't remember exactly what. So she gave me like, she was at that same booth to stamp passports.
Right.
So she gave me like the 25 passports of all these tourists.
She entrusted you.
Yeah.
25.
And so we're
passports.
walking together to this
Perfect.
bus, and now change point of view to these tourists who are already waiting for this girl to show up back with their passports, which is already a little bit of a nervous thing.
Yeah.
And she shows up with some dirty hitchhiker holding all of their passports, going like, this guy is going to come on our bus.
Perfect.
Yeah. So that didn't go so well.
But they had an uprising?
Tourists were not happy. Bus driver was a good blue helmet and said, unfortunately, I cannot take anyone across the border that is not on my passenger manifest. Which, if you've ever been to Turkey, laws and rules are there to be flexible and guidelines at best.
Yeah.
So it was a bullshit argument, but, you know, he could actually say this is the thing, and we kind of just add you to the manifest. And so a girl made a deal for me that they would bring me across the demilitarized zone and drop me before the actual Turkish border, which was all I needed.
Yeah.
So fine. So I get on the bus. Tourists grudgingly get on the bus. They all look at me very suspiciously. Like, what is this crazy guy doing on our bus? And
how far is the zone? Like a kilometer or something?
Yeah, 2, 3 maybe. Like it's really small. So we get to the other side. Girl says, actually, so she's like, so what's your plan for Turkey? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to stay in Istanbul for like 3-4 weeks and then move on. And I had rough plans of going in the Middle East.
Yeah.
Who knows? She's like, oh yeah, we have a room. I live with my sister, and we have a room in our apartment that you can rent. So here's my number. Give me a call when you get to Istanbul.
Sweet.
Okay, cool. I get out of the bus, get some Turkish money to pay for the visa, blah blah blah, whatever. Yeah. I get to the actual booth for the passport.
Right.
Girl is inside the booth talking to the on the opposite side, like on the side of the border guard. Talking to the border guard, chatting, blah blah blah, whatever.
Yeah.
She's stamping the 25 passports of the tourists herself. Yeah, because the girl, you know, she was good at talking to these kind of people, so she chatted them up a little bit, and then she was allowed to stamp all the passports herself. So I gave her my passport, like, hey, you here? So she stamped my passport into Turkey.
That's funny.
And then okay, bye. And so I walk up to the customs. And before I even get to it's this little booth with a little window in it, and I get to the window. Before I even say anything, the guy's like, "Are you a couch surfer?"
Wow.
Usually customs people are not very fond of it. So
I was a little bit like, it is.
What should I say here? But, okay, yes, I am. He's like, cool, me too. I love couch surfing, blah, 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 this and that, the whole story. He's like, where are you going? I'm like, well, I was trying to get to Istanbul, but, it's 9:30 or 10 p.m. now. So
well dark.
Probably I'll just walk down the street, down the road, and find a place to pitch my tent and try again tomorrow morning. He's like, no. Go stand over there, like 20, 30 meters down the road. I'll find you a car.
Sweet. Border patrol on your side.
So he literally starts asking every car that stops at his booth.
Yeah.
This guy needs to go to Istanbul. Can you take him? And the third car, within like 2 minutes, third car, like, oh yeah, I'm a couch surfer too. I'll take him.
Oh man, the odds of that are so low.
Insane. It's this British guy from London who lives in Istanbul, has an apartment in Istanbul, and he went to go pick up a car in London and then drove it back to Istanbul.
A big drive. Man.
And he's like, yeah, it's perfect because I want to get to Istanbul tonight, and really tired, so having someone to talk to and like keep me awake is perfect. Little did he know I had narcolepsy, but you know, whatever.
Yeah. Like, I'm going to be sleeping half the time, but you'll figure that out later.
I'll maybe tell you. And so, we had a nice time in the car, and we approach Istanbul, and it's like 2:00, 3:00 in the morning at this point. He's like, you know what? We had a good chat. I have a room free in my apartment. You can go and you can come and sleep in my apartment. We normally couch surf it out anyway, so it's fine.
Perfect.
So stay over at the guy's apartment. Next day, I called a girl from the border because I had her number.
Right.
Like, hey, do you want to hang out? And let me see. Yeah, we hung out. She showed me all of Istanbul in one day. Like,
wow.
We walked for like, I don't know, 15 kilometers that day.
Super tour.
Just, all the interesting sights. And one thing led to another. And now 7 years later, we are married for for 6 years.
That's one of the craziest stories.
I also ended up renting an apartment renting a room from that guy that drove me to Istanbul.
Oh, that's right. I met him eventually then.
James.
Yeah, because
Bond.
James Bond.
Simon Bond.
Simon Bond.
I remember it wasn't actually James Bond.
Yeah.
Simon Bond. Really nice guy. And so I rented a room from his apartment for a while, and obviously in the meantime fell in love with Minem and my wife's name, and spent an ungodly amount of time with Mine, and then so that day ended up being my last day of hitchhiking ever, without it being planned.
Wow.
Just I hung out with Mine, and we did a lot of cool things, but somehow I ended up never hitchhiking again. So the day we met,
that's crazy.
Yeah.
You just at the border, you go from like, I'm probably gonna have to camp here to have a day of hitchhiking to I'm gonna get married and I have a place to live for the next few months or whatever. That's the magic of hitchhiking. It really is extreme.